What's up, guys? Nethervvoid here with more World of Tanks tank guides for you, and this is the Tier 10 American Heavy, the T110E5. It's been a long time. I've had this tank forever, and I didn't make a guide on it immediately. It's usually when I get my Tier 10s, well, I drive them for a while, and then I make a guide, but somehow this one slipped through the cracks. Anyway, this is really, in my opinion, probably the best Tier 10 Heavy. Again, that's my opinion. It's very all-around great. It doesn't really have any glaring weaknesses or anything. You'd think this cupola, since it's so large, the fez here, that's what I call it, you'd think this would be a huge weakness, but it's actually not. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But this thing has nice mobility, has a nice gun, no real crappy, armor weaknesses or anything like that. It's generally great all around, and we will talk about that again in a second here, why this thing is so great. You'll see with the weak spots and stuff. But generally, the way I play this tank is a lot different than when Tier 10 Heavies first came out, and even when this tank first came on the scene. I do believe there were no other Tier 10s out when the T110E5 came out, but I can't remember exactly. I do know that like the E1 or the Mouse and the IS-7 came out when there were no other Tier 10s, and so that's kind of why Tier 10 Heavies, the role that they play has changed so dramatically. Tier 10 Heavies used to be pretty much responsible for pushing lanes, pushing out there so that other tanks could get in a position and do damage. They were kind of the quote-unquote tank of this game, if you know what I mean. Like if you're playing an MMO, the tank is the guy that absorbs damage and doesn't really do a lot of damage, but he's out there taking the hits to make sure his team can get into position and do what they need to do. That's what Tier 10s used to be. But now that they've changed the game so dramatically with basically everybody shooting gold because they have to rely on it now, instead of actually using tactics to beat somebody like flanking them or something, they just switch to gold rounds to shoot you right through the top plate or wherever they need to shoot you right in the face. It didn't used to be that way. The game used to be a lot different where you had to actually be smart to kill someone. And it's not like that anymore. There are Tier 10 mediums and TDs. There are gold rounds all over the place, super high pen guns everywhere. And now with all these autoloaders coming out, it's basically a DPS fest. Now the way I play Tier 10 Heavies, and this tank is no different, is I kind of stay back and snipe a little bit. I don't really spot at all. I don't push lanes. I don't take a lot of chances. I basically try to hold down or stay behind buildings with, infinity armor basically, or behind dirt where I can't get penned because, as someone put it, and I read it in a forum thread the other day, is that great players do not rely on armor. They just consider themselves to have no armor. So you need to position your tank at all times like that. Like you basically don't have any armor. And in my opinion, that's why the tanks that don't have armor are a lot better than the tanks that do, because you all already don't have armor. Gold rounds are coming in anyway. They're going to pen you no matter what. So you might as well get the biggest DPS you can get and the most mobility you can get, because armor's pointless. Especially since the medium guns seem to be pretty much on the same par as the heavy guns. So again, no real benefits to being heavy. The only weaknesses, because you have a mobility weakness. But this tank is generally pretty quick for a heavy tank. I do like that about it. It's not the IS-7, but it's generally pretty fast. So the way I play this tank, like I just said, I hold down a lot. I'm always on the move to make sure the Arty can't pound into me. Arty's not as big a deal as it used to be for Tier 10 Heavies, but I'm generally moving at all times, and I don't stay out just, spotting people or keeping my gun on people while I'm reloading. I get out, take a snapshot real fast, and then move back into cover. Especially with all the autoloaders out there now, you have to be very, very careful and cautious. And I generally am not the guy in the front almost anymore ever. I leave that up to the mediums and other tanks that just feel like driving out there and getting shot. I don't like playing that way, but that's the way you have to play now. They pretty much are dictating the play style to us with the kind of tanks they're releasing and the way that gold rounds for credits is out now. There's really only one or two play styles now. There used to be a lot of different play styles as far as brawling, sniping, flanking. There's pretty much 3 different styles. Now there's really only 2 styles: sniping and flanking. That's it. There's no such thing as brawling really anymore. But this tank does have decent armor if they aren't firing gold rounds at you or having a super high pen gun like a TD, a Tier 10 TD, and we'll talk about that in a little bit about weak spots and stuff. But that's generally how I play that tank. This tank, you're going to see that in a couple of replays that I do show, is I'm just kind of doing that same thing, dancing around and staying in cover and basically sniping for a lot of the game. So let's talk about stats now. 2,200 hit points. Again, back when tier 10 heavies were the only tier 10s, this was a good amount of hit points. It was a significant jump above tier 9s, and it was good for a heavy tank. Now, this is pretty much crap. Other tanks, mediums, and TDs have 2,000 to 2,100 hit points. So again, you have basically the same amount of hit points as the mediums and TDs. If they wanted to make heavies brawlers again, you probably need 3,000 hit points now on all your tier 10 heavy tanks if you actually want to make them be able to soak up damage and have a role on the team. 875 horsepower engine pushing 54 tons. That's about a little bit more than 15:1 power to weight ratio. That's pretty good, actually. So the engine, again, the mobility is pretty decent on this tank. 37 mile an hour speed limit. I get into the 30s, no problem. 30 traverse with 32 on the turret is 62. Not too bad, actually. Not great. It's not, again, not an IS-7. I think an IS-7 has better rotation than that, but it's decent. Again, this is where, in my opinion, just play a medium. Because armor's, I mean, you're going to get dings. I'm not saying it's never going to get a ding, but you can't rely on the armor. If you're relying on the armor, then you're not going to have good stats over time because you're going to get usually damaged. Usually you're going to get penned. So just don't rely on it. We'll talk about armor in a little bit. We're going to go over weak spots and stuff. But you can see mainly if you're looking at the side and the back armor, there really isn't any. Even 127 on the turret is not great. We'll talk about that. So you really do have to keep your face at the enemy. If they're getting flank shots on you, you're going to get jacked up. If you weren't already getting jacked up from the front. So let's look at the view range. 400, that's good. That's pretty much the highest it's going to get. I mean, 400 is pretty high. 745 signal range. Again, the best radios in the game are 700 something. It's all you're ever going to need. Let's talk about modules real quick. And then we'll talk about some weak points. Again, we already talked about that. 30 degrees rotation on the tracks, pretty decent. There are no upgrades here because it is a tier 10. And I know some tier 10s do have like a gun upgrade, but this does not, which is nice. You don't have to grind anything to get any upgrades. We already talked about the, well, there's really nothing to talk about here because it's all the same as what we just talked about on the stats. So, again, we didn't talk about the gun. Good gun. Pretty decent on damage. It's a little bit low. It feels a little bit low anyway, but nice pen at 258. But rounds per minute is decent. The gun reloads pretty quickly. Let's look at the accuracy. Aim time, not bad. Accuracy, again, not bad. 0.35, I would say, is pretty average. And you can do snapshots pretty well. The accuracy counts for a lot because in these tanks, you're not popping out and waiting and all that, waiting for weak spots. You have to pop out, snap off your shot, and pop back in undercover. So you don't have a lot of time. 2-second aim time is pretty good. It could be better, obviously, but it's very good. So this gun is awesome. I really like this gun. It's the same gun that's on the M103 if you just saw that stat. And I got really used to it on the M103. It's one of the best things about that tank as well. And it's a really nice gun. So let's talk about some weak points here. This is pretty much, in my opinion, one of the bread and butter things about this guide is showing you where to hit this tank. So believe it or not, the mantlet is one of the weakest parts of this tank, and let me click this to actually get some details for you here. So right here at the flat part of the mantlet here, if you look at the side, it doesn't look flat, but it actually is. That's actually just painted in right there where it looks like it has an angle. It's actually flat right here at 254 millimeters of armor right there. So what's funny is what's supposed to be the strongest part of the tank in the front here is actually one of the weakest. So the gun, T110E5's gun can actually pen its own mantlet right in the front, which is pretty interesting. If you go up a little bit or down a little bit, it gets a little bit thicker at 310 and 359 each, kind of respectively, if you go up or down here. So you can shoot it pretty much right in this flat spot right there and get a good pen, especially if you're firing gold, which a lot of people do when they, let's just fire straight through the mantlet. Herp de derp. So the other weak spot is up on the cupola right here, or what I like to call the fez. But the whole thing's not a weak spot, and this is why this tank seems like it has kind of a weak spot in the fez here, but it's actually not because it has good armor because of the angling on the turret, or on the cupola. If you can see, it's highly angled. There are only a couple of flat spots, which one of them is basically this machine gun port. If you can get a shot on that, you're doing pretty awesome. It's got pretty weak armor there at 203 because there's really no angling there. And then the bottom part of the turret here, right here where it's kind of flattened out here, which actually, no, that's wrong on the armor on the turret there. It is the turret. Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. It's pretty low, but I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I thought I had it written down, but apparently not. But also, there's a weak spot right here on the flat part of the turret, or the flat part of the fez there. So shoot there if you can, basically the bottom part of the fez. You can also shoot for the turret ring. That's a weak spot on any tank. But again, those are really small points to shoot at, so it can be pretty hard to hit. The lower plate is also pretty weak if you go below this bulge right here. But if you start hitting over here, it starts to get pretty strong. So you want to go for the lower part of that lower front plate right there. If you look at the side angling, again, you want to shoot the flat part of the cupola, so right there. You can also shoot right into the, basically the turret here is pretty weak. Let me get to looking at that a little bit more. You can also shoot right there. Also, what I like to do, if I get the side of the tank like this, I like to shoot right into this track. You can hit the soft part of the armor right here behind this track, and you also go right through the track. So you track them and get damage. This is like the best of both worlds right there. Don't shoot at the angled lower plate right here. You're probably going to bounce. You really need to get that track and then the soft armor behind the track. You're going to bounce if you shoot anywhere on this turret right here. Like I said, only these flat spots up here in the front. You can pen them pretty reliably if you have a 250 or higher pen gun. And then I would probably shoot at the flat part of the cupola here, or I'm sorry, the fez, and then this track. That's probably what I would do. If you're looking at the side, you don't want to shoot the front part of the turret. It's fairly armored and has some good angling. You want to shoot from this half or back. It's fairly flat right here. Again, the side of the fez here is a good spot too. It really just kind of depends on whether you're going for ammo rack or commander. I'm just going to assume that that's the ammo rack. I actually don't know, but generally for a lot of tanks they store their ammo in the turret. So if you're going to shoot the side of the tank though in the track, you're going to want to go for this kind of exposed area right here. If you go for a little bit higher, it's a little harder to hit, has a little bit better armor. So that's what I do. Also, this is kind of a weak spot right here, but that's a very small part of the tank, so I'd probably just shoot for... If I saw it on the side, I'd go for this huge half of the turret here, because you're generally going to be pretty far away, and it's a lot easier. You know, if your shell strays off course a little bit, you're still going to hit something. That's kind of what I do. I go for the meatiest part of where I know I can get a hit. In the back, it's pretty generally obvious. Just shoot at the flat part of the turret here and right into the engine casing here. If you shoot a little bit higher, you're going to get more of an angled area, and you don't want to do that. So just shoot right at the meaty parts of the back. It's pretty easy to go through. So those are the weak spots on this tank. And we would be going into research, but there is none, which is kind of awesome. You start out with an awesome gun, and you don't have to research anything, so that's awesome. Although, no, you do get it, because if you look at the research tree, you're going to get the gun no matter what. You don't even have to unlock it. So now let's talk about equipment. This is pretty standard setup equipment here for me. Vents, rammer makes your gun shoot faster. Vents make everything better on your tank. Turn speed, aim times, everything, so I definitely recommend it. And then vert stab, especially for snapshots. This will have your reticle be a lot smaller and help you get that shot off a lot faster. So that's what I generally like to use. Let's talk about consumables here. And for rounds, what I like to do is 2 HE shells and then everything else AP. This gun has enough pen where you're not going to need a lot of HE to like reset caps and stuff. So 2 is fine, and 40 is what I like to use. The gold round, you're going to get 340 pen and the same amount of damage, and you can get those. I generally don't load any of those because, in my opinion, the game's more fun without gold rounds, but that's me. If you like them, load them. So a full rack of consumables, tier 7 and above, I use the full rack. It's a pretty obvious thing to do, so there's not a lot to talk about there. Let's talk about crew skills. I'm right in the middle of kind of resetting my crew here. Most of them have what I want them to have, but my commander does not. So the first thing I go after is I'll start out with Mentor and All Repair, and then what that does is Mentor speeds up the training on my whole crew, and it's something that's active even if it's not 100%, so which means it's not a perk. Perks are only active at 100%. So I have Mentor and All Repair. Once they get to 100%, and this is how I know this, I come down here to drop. Once I can get 100% on the first skill with the 20,000 drop, I'll drop, and then I'll reset all my first skills to Brothers in Arms. That adds, like, if you already have a vent, it adds 2.2% to your whole tank. Again, aim times, traverses, everything. I think it's a really nice set of skills to have. It's kind of been proven on the forums that it's pretty much the best set of skills out there, so I always get it. A lot of people are going to want Sixth Sense, but I just wait. Generally, by the time you get to your tier 10, you're going to have 2 or 3 skills unlocked anyway, so you should have a lot of extra room like I'm going to show you here. So once I get the Brothers in Arms, I just throw Mentor and Repair back on the tank, and that's pretty much what I like to do. Now, for the third set of skills, once these are at 100% again, I'm going to drop it, and I usually go for, I like this Snapshot on the Gunner. I'll probably actually switch that out with Repair. It's kind of up to you what you want. The Snapshot's like another 7.5% for gun dispersion, and it helps you again to get those snapshots off, which why it's called Snapshot. It's very good to get on, especially on tier 10s where you can't stay exposed for more than like 1 second or something. Somebody might be zeroed in on your position, and you need to get out of there. For the driver, I like to get clutch braking to increase the traverse on my tracks. That helps out a lot. It's not a huge amount, but anything you can do to make this thing more mobile is good. I like it. So traverse generally is what I use the most. I like to get safe stowage on the loader, and that's a perk, so I do have to leave it at 100%, and that's because anything that can help your ammo rack out is, in my opinion, a lot better. Adrenaline Rush is only active at 10% or under, which is not a lot of the percent of your games, but safe stowage is always active. It gives you another, I think it's 12.5% to hit points on your ammo rack. And a lot of people are saying that, and I think it does actually, the ammo rack gets hit quite a bit on this tank, so it's nice to have for when you've burned your repair kit. It's nice to have that extra hit points on your ammo rack to make it harder to damage. So with the Commander, once I fill out this second slot, and I'm kind of waiting for it to actually 100% when I drop it. As you can see, it's at 99 here. I'm going to get Sixth Sense, so I'll have Brothers in Arms and Sixth Sense. That'll help me know when I've been spotted, especially if you're trying to do some more forward maneuvers and stuff. It's nice to have Sixth Sense. And then I'll just throw Mentor back on for my third skill there. For these two guys, I decided to keep Repair because I think it's a little bit more valuable than clutch braking and Snapshot. It's 50-50. It's kind of do whatever you feel is better here. They both work at under 100%, but in my opinion, Repair is a little bit better because if I use my repair kit on my ammo rack, which to me, when you have a hurt ammo rack, you cannot have a 50% addition to your reload time. You're going to be out of the game. You need to make sure your gun's unloading on the enemy team as much as possible. Damage is what you want to do with this tank, right? Damage and killing people. So, in my opinion, Repair is a little bit better because if I've used my repair kit on my ammo rack, then I need to repair those tracks as fast as possible so I can get out of harm's way. It happens every few games. You know, I have to sit out there and wait for my crew to repair the track. So it's very valuable to have those repair skills maxed out, in my opinion, for these two guys anyway. Again, for the loader, since safe stowage has to be 100% because it's a perk, he has repair as his third skill. Eventually, my commander will have a repair skill probably, but it's fine like this. So anyway, that's the crew, and let's get this thing into a couple games and show you what I'm talking about here. So here's the first game out of 2. And unfortunately, both my games are on Malinovka here, Kampanovka, but it is what it is. It's still a good map to watch, even though it's one of the oldest maps. I think it might even be the oldest map. And because it's very unforgiving, there are not a lot of places to hide, especially if you're going up the hill here and stuff. So I'm going up the hill with these guys, and they are already on both sides. The other side has a 40-43. So trying to get a shot on the 28-01, but I don't stick around very long, especially since now I've probably been spotted and that Artie can just drop, rain fire on us. And it used to be that T10 heavies were pretty much the primary targets of artillery, but I don't think that's the case anymore just because they just aren't as big of a deal anymore. So there's a good shot into the T71 that did not register on the mod that counts my damage because it only counts the damage if you can see it. Okay, here's a Waffle 100. That's pretty much the primary target of any of these games. If you see a Waffle 100 or any autoloader like the T57 Heavy, they should be primaried because they pump out tons of damage. Even a newbie can pump out tons of damage with that Waffle 100. The reload time is ridiculous. The penetration is ridiculous. The damage is ridiculous, okay? And remember, this game is mainly now about how much damage you can put out. It always was kind of that way before, but it's like the primary thing now. So that could have been good. The KV-4's turret could have been a good shot for me. But I decided not to chance it. Now, look at me. I'm staying way hull down. So is the enemy team. Not getting too exposed here. So Waffle 100 pokes itself out. Get him. Boom! As a Waffle 100, you don't want to be pushing up like that. That's why this guy died. You need to be sniping back from those, probably from the bushes more. Because you cannot just be up in people's faces. You're going to get primaried. It's not because, you know, yes, you're easily damaged. I mean, you're never going to bounce any shots at all. But also, you're going to get primaried because everybody knows you're going to pump out so much damage. It's going to be ridiculous, and they don't want you to, you know, spew all over their face. If you know what I'm saying. So anyway, 2 tanks down. We're doing pretty good. I figure I'll push up a little bit. I still am hull down basically from here. And a little bit more protection from Artie. Trying to hopefully get some shots on somebody. The IS-7 is pretty much zoomed in on me right now. I gotta be careful because the Fez is fairly easy to hit. Again, I keep moving around, not just because of Artie, but also it's a lot harder to zoom in on my weak spots. So I'm trying to get into the turret ring there on the IS-8, no dice. Also, the front plate is highly angled. They get in my turret ring right there, the IS-7 does. Nice shot by the IS-7. Not the most accurate gun. The T110E5 definitely has a better gun than the IS-7, even though it does more damage. In my opinion, it's a better gun. Again, these are all my stats are off the top of my head right now. I don't know the stats by heart between the two guns. I just feel like when I'm playing the T110E5, I can rely on the gun a lot better than when I'm playing the IS-7. I love the IS-7. It's a fun tank to play. More for me for nostalgia reasons. Okay, this guy's angling it. Not good. I hit the rock on accident. The IS-7 should be playing with its armor straight forward, not sideways like this. So even with AP rounds, I can go through the top cheek right there. Boom. 407 damage. So my job is to hopefully start damaging this guy and take him out of the game, especially if he's not going to move right into the cheek. I can get through that top plate every time with this gun. Angled cheek like that. It's not very good armor on the pike. Oh, ricocheted basically off the turret there because the shell went wide to the left a little bit. So they're losing the momentum here. We're just taking them out one at a time. The cupolas on these IS series are really hard to hit because they're so tiny. And you have to get just like a direct hit on it to actually do some damage. But it's good to take the shot anyway. I'm not really worried about running out of shells. I still have 31 out of 40. I mean, I've only shot 9 shots, right? So still doing pretty good. Maybe I can get a turret ring shot on that. Nah, I'm not even going to take that shot. If you see the turret of an IS-7, unless you're firing gold, it's generally a no-go for me. I don't even shoot at them. Because they have really angled turret armor, and it's really thick. And their cupolas are basically non-existent. Okay, so our JPZ E100 takes out the IS-8 probably from the side. Yeah, he's down there with the E100 if you're looking at the mini-map at E8 there. So there's the T57 Heavy, kind of backed way off when he got damaged really heavily. It would be nice. That's a nice target to hit. There's a T30, another nice target. That's where the Waffle E100 should have been. And the 103 takes out the T57. Again, that's the primary target, especially since he's so low. 50B says YOLO bitches, and does something really dumb here. But I'm going to take my chance, take the opportunity to get out there and hit him in the lower plate there. Right below the apex is a great spot to shoot the IS-7. And I'm going to do it again. When I reload here, boom! He's at 48. Tries to ram him, does not do enough damage. So I'm going to take this guy out. I got to get rid of this guy even if I have to trade damage for it. Boom! He's dead. I think that actually went through the upper plate a little bit. I'm not positive on that. So I don't even think... No, I have not... I know there's more damage. Okay, there's a little bit more damage from that T69. I'll take him out. He's going to get primaried because he's an autoloader. I'll trade damage with him just to take his gun out of the game. That's one thing you can do with your little bit of extra hit points is trade damage for stuff like a T69 kill, which T69s are not all that big of a deal in a tier 10 game, but it is an autoloader, and if he has the opportunity to get over on you, you're going to have a really hard time. Because he can dump, like, I think it's somebody calculated it, like 960 damage per clip. So that's pretty significant. So these guys are pretty much done now. It's pretty much over for them. There goes their Artie. At this point, I can pretty much rush, but I'm going to wait a little bit. 1,200 hit points is just not enough to do something dumb. That 268 could kill me. If he gets a shot on me when I can't see him, and then I'm still looking for him, he gets another shot, I'm dead. So pretty much what I like to do in tier 10s as well is stay alive. The E100 is going to go up there. He's going to scout. Let him scout. Right? I'm getting in a position so I can get down there quick. But I'm waiting. If you got one guy getting up there ready to scout, there's no point. Now, it's time to rush because there looks like there's a bunch of people coming in. At A4, it looks like where the 268 is. It's probably where he's going to be. And now those guys are going to take the brunt of the damage because they're being spotted first, so he's going to turn toward them. Oh, he backed up a little bit. Looks like he's at B2 there. One shot from death. Oh, apparently two if you're a Panther 2. So he's going to be pretty much dead. There's nothing I can do to get in there and get a shot. But that's okay. I did a really good game there. Over 3,000 damage because I did hit the T71. I know that did not register with the mod. So this was a pretty good game. If you can do your damage, at least 1 times your damage, or your health in damage, you had a pretty good game. So that'd be 2,200 damage for this tank. If you get over that, you're doing really good. If you get double, you had a really good game in my opinion. So I had a really good game. Well, actually, no, that'd be 4,400 damage for a really excellent game. 1.5 times health would be about 3,000, a little bit over 3,000 damage. So I think I did that with this tank. Pretty good game here. So let's get another one. So here's the second game. It's actually a little bit better than the first game. It shows you a lot about how to play this tank again. Again, sorry, it's on the same map. It just happened to be that when I was trying to get replays for this thing, I kept getting the same map. So, this is not looking great for us. I mean, you can't just rely on XVM to tell you what's going to happen in the game, but it can be a good indicator. The one thing that is nice is we have our top 3 tier 10 heavies all have pretty good win rates. Again, that's not indicative of exactly what's going to happen, but it's a good indicator. Actually, top 5 guys are not too bad. The top 5 guys on their side, really good, except their E100 is pretty bad, 47% win rate. So, ooh, that's weird. I like this better because you can see the actual win rates of the player here. Oh no, that's the tank. The tank. So there's a good hit on the Tiger too. Again, this tank is all about getting damage. It's not about being a brawler anymore. There is no such thing, in my opinion, in tier 10s. Now I'm getting a little too over anxious here with my damage. I got shot from behind or something by, oh, the Bat-Shat. I think I know where that Bat-Shat is. But I did just lose 600 or 700 health for my 800 damage. Not a good trade-off. Was way too aggressive right there. I should have kept going up the hill. Way too exposed. Remember, it's all about how exposed you are. That's the main thing. You need to try to get in a position to damage people to keep the exposure to a minimum. So here's an E50. Yeah, I can... no, didn't do it. Should have rolled up a little bit more to try to get that shot. One nice thing about this tank is it does have the good American gun depression, so it's easier to hold down. Top plate is not going to go. It's not going to go through on the E75. I was trying to get his turret ring. Couldn't take any good shots. I was really trying to get his turret, but he kept swinging it back and forth, so it's tough. That cupola can be an easy hit. Mainly what I'm trying to do here is not be too exposed. I just got hit again by the T-54E1, an autoloader. Patton's just about dead already. And I'm not doing too hot here myself. Half my health is gone already. There's the Bat-25. There's an E100. There's tons of tanks over here. There, now I'm using the IS-7. Oh, man, he gets hit for 1,000. Using him as cover. I'm thinking if I come up here... Oh, no, this is not going to go over well. I need to get out of here. This is too exposed. Let's back it up here. Too exposed. Back up more. Back up more. Damn. So, side of an IS-4 turret. And that's, again, actually STI. Having a really hard time on this ridge. So it's time to get the hell out of Dodge right here. I'm going to stop worrying about who's coming up the hill. Start worrying about who I'm getting shot at from the forest. I'm sure they're hitting me from right here. If you look at E8, I'm sure that's where they're shooting us from. You can get really good side shots on people that are coming over their ridge here. So, the E3 and the T69, I wish they were pushing up more. I'm trying to get some spots, maybe even on the guys down there. It's not working. Now I'm just kind of positioning myself in case I do get some spots there. And, okay, there he is. There's the 54E1. So we do get a spot on him finally. The T69 spots him. American gun depression not helping me out too much here. Trying to expose just enough to get a hit on this guy. There we go. Oh, don't have a lot of... And I hit him. Really not a lot of exposed there on this guy's side. Focusing mainly on these guys now in the forest is probably where I should have been focusing most of this time anyway. But we didn't have spotters up there yet. So again, the best thing to do with this tank is just wait until people are spotting, and boom. Another nice set of damage on that guy, he's dead. Ooh, a FOC 155, the bane of this game right now. I don't know where that went. I think in the dirt, because I wish it wouldn't draw a line around the areas. I wish it would only draw where you can actually hit them, not the dirt. See? Right into his front armor. Again, not a great shot. But putting those shells into him, even if they're not hits, is helping because he's going to get freaked out and scared. He knows somebody's over here, and he's freaked out now. E100, seeing if I can maybe get a quick shot off on this guy since my gun's loaded. I'm not going to play around with it because E100 is generally going to be shooting gold. They just like to do that because their gun's horrible without gold, so a lot of them do shoot gold. There we go, side shot on the 155 as he's trying to mess with that T69. And just keep taking those shots. He is the primary target right now. One of the most insane autoloaders in the game. He is target number one, enemy number one. The E100 has a good gun with gold, but not like this tank. That tank is insane, and I think that shell fell behind him because he's moving pretty quick. So he rams the T69, 600 and something hit points, taking on the E3 right here as well, 700 damage into him. And the E3, I think it's the 600 damage off on him. It's TD's trading shots here. E100 just sitting there, not even getting killed. Okay, now he's getting hit a little bit. So here's the American gun depression. I probably should have gone lower plate, but I thought maybe I could go through his turret. I had heard that that huge turret had some weak spots right there, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what they are. I should have went for the lower plate. I was really more worried about my exposure at that point than anything else. They still have quite a lot of tanks that I don't know where they are. Well, the Centurion, Ferd, and Leopard looks like they're all on the defense there. But you never know, they could have relocated since then. And there's also a Bat-25 out there somewhere. So I don't want to take my chances with that. I'm only at 700 hit points, so I got to be very careful. So again, letting people spot. The Patton should probably not be racing in there that quick like that, but whatever. There's the Ferd. The Tiger 2 can, because he still has a lot of damage. He's the guy that really should be scouting. Patton now down to one shot from death. There's the Centurion. I lost him, and he's dead. Leopard takes him out. So, especially in Tier 10 games, the main thing is to stay alive. Not sure if he hit that hit. It probably did not. But again, the main thing is to stay alive in this battle because your gun's still in the game. At one hit point, it fires the same as it does at full hit points. So once you get a little bit low, just let other people do the work, and that's what I'm trying to do. Waiting for people to come up and scout since I'm fairly low, even though this IS-4 is even lower, but he's going to go ahead of me. So I'm not going to take any chances here is what I'm saying. Don't take huge chances. It's not worth it. At 700 hit points, I'm like at 1-2 shots from death. There is an E100. Oh, that's the Arty. There's an Arty out there. There's a Leopard and a Bashat. They could easily just, both of those guys, one shot into me, I'm dead. One shot each. So got to be careful. Again, I'm constantly moving around. I don't know if you noticed that in this game. I'm constantly moving. Not only so Arty doesn't hit me, but so it's a lot harder to zero in on my weak spots, like that cupola and stuff. And I'm going to come up behind this million armor rock right here. So the E100 kills the 103. There he is. Let's get some damage on him real quick. Boom! Get as much damage off as you can. I mean, that's the whole point of this tank. You also want kills. I mean, I'm not saying don't kill someone. Kill someone if you have the opportunity, but mainly you want to get damage. You want to keep your gun unloaded. So I'm trying to work this rock a little bit. Oh, there's the 171. Let's get some damage into him. He's just giving me side armor, so let's take that all day long. There's the Bat-Shat. So their whole team's lit up right here. We know where they all are now. And let's get some... I know that shot connected. I'm not sure if it penetrated, but I'm pretty sure it did since it was all side armor and it's a medium. That building looked like it was moving. So the 25T is basically hiding. He's going to wait for someone to come up and he's going to unload on him. I'm sure that's what he's going to do. Or he's on reload, but I'm not positive. I think he's just almost dead, so he's just going to take his chance. Like with this Tiger, too. He probably could kill him, actually. So I'm waiting for people to be spotted. Again, I don't have a lot of hit points, so I'm not rushing out there to die. We got enough people. It's not like we're gonna lose or something if we don't make a move. So I'm just preserving my health, and I don't want to die. And this is taking a while. There's the leopard again. Let's see if I have any shots on him. I think he's behind a building. But people are getting shots. See how I'm just exposing myself enough to get shots on him. No more than that. Use this million armor rock to my advantage. So I think he just died. Oh, the Batshat died. There's the 7-1. Get another nice hit on him right there. Nice high damage roll. And there, he's dead. It's pretty much over at this point. Not too worried about one guy killing me. I'm concerned about getting some more damage and maybe getting a kill shot here. So I think I lit him up there, but it could have been the E3. Nice hit on the side. It goes behind a building. And I'm loaded, and he's dead, so that's okay. So over 4,000 damage in this game. I think it was like 4,200 or something like that, because there was a shot. I shot at the Centurion that didn't register in the mod there. Nice little set of nice little game there. I think I got Confederate. Did I get Confederate on this one? Tiger 2, E1, FACA 155, E100. Yeah, that's 6 different tanks. So I got a Confederate medal on this one. Really nice game here. And that's pretty much how you play the 110E5. Let me know your experiences in it and any other tips you want to show or let us know about in the comment section. I really appreciate it. So I'll see you guys next time. Later.